Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Broadway.com's Live at 5. It is Tuesday, May 28th, and I am Ryan Lee Gilbert.
And I'm Beth Stevens.
And we are joined once again in the studio by the marvelous Caitlin Moynihan.
Hello.
And we have an especially marvelous guest with us today. We have Tony Award nominee Amber Gray from HADESTOWN.
Yes, Our Lady of the Underground is with us.
Our Lady of the Underground, indeed. We are very excited to talk to her in just a moment. But first, let's talk about today's top 5.
There's a new Queen Bee on Broadway.
Hey, Ryan.
Yes.
Do you know who works?
Who works?
Yeah.
Women.
Jimmy. Oh.
Women.
And mic drop. Jimmy Award winners.
Yes, Jimmy Award winners, man.
They work it.
They do. Yeah.
Renee Rapp, remember that name, will be the new Regina George in Mean Girls on the Broadway. How exciting is this? This is a young person who won the 2018 Jimmy Awards along with Jervin Hansen star Andrew Barth Feldman.
Crazy.
That's what I mean by the work.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the guys and the women, they all work.
They all work, yeah.
She will begin performances on September 10th, and Tony nominee Taylor Louderman will play her final performance on September 8th. But there's a little something I need to tell you.
Yeah.
You could get a preview of Renee Rapp because she will take over the role for a brief stint, June 7th through the 26th, when Taylor Louderman heads to the Mooney to do Kinky Boots.
Absolutely.
I like to say it that way.
And she's like co-directing this production of Kinky Boots really as well.
Yes, she is.
Which is very cool. Taylor Louderman, get it. And Renee Rapp.
Yes. And this music icon is heading back to Broadway for just a few performances.
Yes, he won't be playing the Copacabana, but Barry Manilow is coming back to Broadway. He is, of course, an award-winning music icon and a Broadway alum. He will be playing 17 performances at the Lunt-Fontanne Theater as part of that In Residence on Broadway.
In Residence on Broadway.
Absolutely.
So well named.
Of course, Barry Manilow also has a special Tony Award. He has played 2 previous Broadway engagements, one back in 1976 and one back in 1989. Like the Taylor Swift album. Yes, so it's been a long time. We're excited to have him back. He joins previously announced lineup of In Residence that includes the currently running Yanni, you can see at the Lunt-Fontanne, and then Mel Brooks, Regina Spektor, and Chris Angel are all coming up as well.
It's a wild group, isn't it?
It is a wild group over there. Barry Manilow will be there from July 26th through August 17th. So make sure you go see him.
This long-running off-Broadway play has announced its closing date.
The musical is closing, unfortunately, because it has been running for a very long time. It is the 5th longest-running musical in off-Broadway history.
It's been there forever.
What?
It's crazy.
That's crazy. It will play its final performance at the Kirk Theater on Theater Row on June 17th. And it will feature original stars Christine Petty, who is a genius.
She's so funny.
Michael West and longtime cast members Susan Mosher and Taylor Crusor. It began long ago. I don't even know.
Long ago.
On November 23rd, 2009, and officially opened that year on December 9th. Written and created by Rick Crum, directed by Mark Waldrop, and music directed by Ed Goldschneider.
It's
what
very
a great
charming. It's
show, constantly changing with the headlines. Check it out
cool.
by June 17th.
Congratulations are in order for these 2 stage favorites who are tying the knot.
There's nothing like a Broadway couple engagement to
love
really warm the cold hearts around here at Broadway.com.
Why did you?
I said around here. It was
really
circular. No, it was circular. Wesley Taylor and Isaac Powell, of course, got engaged over this Memorial Day weekend up in Woodstock, New York. They started dating back in 2017. I don't hopefully have to tell you who these guys are, but Wesley Taylor, you've seen him on Broadway in SpongeBob SquarePants, as well as Rock of Ages and The Addams Family. He also just won a Cheetah Rivera Award for his performance in Alice by Heart. And Isaac Powell recently made his Broadway debut in the 2018 Tony Award-winning revival of Once on This Island, as Daniel, of course. He also performed in a Significant Other reading very recently. So congratulations to that happy couple. Way to go, guys.
Yay.
Love.
And audiences are flocking to see this whole new world on the big screen.
Did you all see Aladdin this weekend? It looks like you did.
You did.
Some of you did, because it made a lot of money. This is Guy Ritchie's new film. It's live action. Amber Gray was wondering what live action is, so will you tell us all?
So, I mean, it is filmed with real living actors.
Living actors,
but
people.
everything else is fake.
The actors are
everything else
alive.
was a green screen. No, I mean,
Thank you, Ryan.
Yes.
That was very,
real
very
beating
helpful.
hearts on film. Yeah.
Okay, so it grossed $112.7 million throughout the U.S. and internationally, it garnered $121 million.
An additional 120. That's insane.
That's crazy. And that means worldwide gross of $207 million.
Yeah.
Now, this surpasses Beauty and the Beast, which had a great opening weekend.
Right.
When it started.
Which was also part of this sort of like rebooting
This is the
classic
reboot.
Disney
and we have more to
films.
look forward to because coming up, we've got The Lion King.
Very
Coming up this
exciting.
summer, July
Very
19th. Aladdin.
Yeah.
Currently running on Broadway as well.
But yeah, go see them both. Go see
So
the
I'll
movie.
let you know that is real
Yeah.
people and everything else also real.
That's right.
The magic carpet's magic, but everything else is real.
Everything else
Just
is
to
real.
let you
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
There's a lot of other very cool
So
things on
much.
our site right now. We recently spoke with Celia Keenan-Bolger about performance as Scout in To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yes.
We took some gorgeous photos of her at the Morgan Public Library.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely amazing. We have a behind-the-scenes photo feature of Hadestown.
Way down.
You might spot Amber Gray in there a couple of times, of course. Lily Cooper sang Then There Was John from Tootsie, the
Yes, she
musical,
did.
for clubbroadway.com. Also, episode 7 of What's Gonna Happen, Sarah Styles' backstage vlog of
And
Tootsie.
in that, you know, Santina Fontana got a Sardi's portrait, so his
That's right.
cast decided to draw their own portraits
Oh,
of Santina
amazing.
Fontana. Check that out. It's fun.
The Obie Awards happened. We took portraits of those as well. An exit interview with Donna Marie Asbury. of
Donna Marie
Chicago.
Asbury has been in Chicago, the musical, the revival of Chicago
Yes.
the musical, the
Yeah.
Tony-winning revival, for 20 years. She plays her final performance on June
Amazing.
3rd. When she started, her daughter was 3. Now she's 23, just to give
That's,
you...
wow. That's
Check it
fine.
out. She tells all about what it's like to leave that show.
She's incredible. And also Moscow. Moscow.
Moscow. All
6
of 'em.
times. Cast and creative team came together, and we took some photos of that. And the Cheetah Rivera and Rita Moreno went to see Ain't Too Proud, and we have some photos of that as well. So go check all of that out on the
But
site.
first,
Thank you, Beth, very much for doing the news with me.
Thank you.
And Caitlin, would you introduce today's guest?
I will so gladly introduce today's guest because we have 2019 Tony Award nominee Amber Gray here with us to celebrate her Tony nominee performance as Persephone in Hadestown, which earned 14 total Tony nominations, including Best Musical and 4 acting nominations. It's crazy. It's so good. Go see it. Amber has been at the production since its off-Broadway run at New York Theater Workshop in 2016. She also made her Broadway debut that same year in Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet of 1812. Rest in peace. Love you forever. Be sure to follow the show at Hadestown on social media to stay up to date on all things Hadestown and Miss Amber Gray herself. And please leave all of your questions in the comments below. Please welcome Amber and Ryan.
Hello there. Oh, listen to that, right? In case you couldn't tell, we're not fans of anything you do around. Clearly. No, we're just, no, how are you?
I'm very tired.
Yeah,
Award season is no joke.
I can imagine. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is your first time up at bat with this kind of thing. How is it? How are you processing it all? How are you handling it all? Are you finding time to enjoy it?
I don't know that I am processing it. I'm just surviving each day
Yup,
right now. It is a lot of fun. I love that I get to see all my friends from other shows right
That's
now.
gotta be
It's
very
really
cool.
cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, because my joke is always like you have to work with your friends in order to see them. So that is probably the most exciting part for me right
Yeah.
now. Feels
And
very celebratory.
I bet. And there has to be this sort of added layer of, I mean, you have been involved in this show since 2016.
Yeah.
You've traveled to you've been in 3 different countries putting this show up. I mean, this has just been such a significant part of your life. How does it feel to now be at this end of the whole journey? 14 Tony Award nominations, one of the buzziest shows happening right now, and your performance is singled out a little bit from it. How is
Yeah.
all of that just feeling?
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's truly awesome. I started my first workshop in 2014.
That's right.
So I've done
early-
6 2-week workshops.
Sure,
and this is my
yeah.
4th production. And each production, it gets cleaner and tighter and more clear. And I'm really proud of it. And I'm super like honored that people are responding to it in the way that I have. I mean, there's a reason I've re-upped for so many years,
I
you
can
know,
imagine,
I feel
yeah,
similarly
right.
about it in the way that the audiences are reacting to it. So it's very special. That doesn't always happen. You can love a show a lot and the audience is like, I don't think so. So it's pretty special when all of that aligns. You know?
Right. And I would imagine one of the reasons you kept kind of re-upping is Rachel Chavkin.
Yeah.
I mean, you've worked on several projects with her. What do you enjoy most about working with her? What kind of working relationship do you two have?
I find it, I get nervous when I have to articulate why I love her so much. I am attracted to similar pieces of art as she is, first of all. They always have a lot of soul. They also have a lot of politics. All of her shows are like athletic events. They're epic.
Right, in these
and
dusty old theaters.
Yeah, yeah. And I just, she's actually quite hard on me because we've been friends for so long, and she knows what she can get out of me, and she sees what I'm capable of before I am, and I love that. But she's deeply challenging to me, and that's a relationship that turns me on.
Yeah.
She makes me go places that I haven't before, and I didn't realize.
So as well as rewarding, you also challenges you in ways,
absolutely.
which has to be. We also absolutely adore Patrick Page around here, and here's someone that has been involved in the show for a very long time as well. Tell me a little bit about what it was like building the relationship that Hades and Persephone have with him. Has he's been your partner throughout this whole thing?
I mean, I joke that we are in an arranged marriage, in that we have truly learned to love each other, like love the verb, greater than us.
Right.
We have figured out how to love one another, and because we're wildly different humans. And I think, the first time I ever met him was one of my final workshops before New York Theater Workshop, and I was due in 1 more month with my first baby.
Right. Wow.
And we had to slow dance together in the reading. But I couldn't quite reach him, because my belly was in the way. And he was totally cool with it. And I was like, I'm going to like this man. He's great. We're so different. And we don't really hang out much outside of the show.
Well, you both have lives
of course. We both have very rich lives outside of the show. Right. But I don't, at the end of the day, don't know many details about the man. But I sort of like that. I trust him fully on stage, and we've had many moments where for whatever reason we've had to improvise a little bit, and I feel very safe with him in those moments.
That's
like one night, the flower
this the a little bit of a magic trick, a little bit of sleight of hand.
He dropped the flower. So
live theater.
There was an amazing improvised scene of how are we going to get the flower? Who's going to get the flower? And it turned into this sort of physical proposal. It was very beautiful.
That's amazing.
But I love moments like that with Patrick Page on stage because I always know I'll be fine and we'll figure it out together.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I was reading somewhere you initially did not think you would ever do musicals. Is
That's
that
true.
right? So first of all, why? What? Why? And then what did you think? Tell me your journey of accepting you as a musical performer.
Well, I have a BFA in acting, and then a few years later I went and got an MFA in acting. And those conservatories, when they're not musical based, they're not always the nicest about musical theater kids.
I know.
And musicals. There's a little bit of a stigma there. It's ridiculous.
it's very
totally
silly.
ridiculous.
Right.
But I grew up singing, and I always loved singing. I love the event of singing, especially with other people and harmonizing. I could do the washing machine and clap and sing and harmonize with people all day long. And nothing brings me more joy. And some of my earliest gigs were musicals, and I just sort of stayed in that world. But they're and I think I had a very limited view of what musical meant.
I was just gonna say, did you, when you were younger, did you watch movie musicals? Did you listen to cast albums, or was that just something you didn't really?
I was really into the rock operas, like the Who's Tommy and Jesus Christ Superstar, and those weirdo shows that I actually would love to do now that have no clues at all on the page about how to do them.
Right.
They're deeply weird.
Right.
I didn't know musicals that well. And when people ask me now, what's your favorite musical? I'm like, I still don't know that many.
Right.
I just work on new ones, which I love and would
Right now, it's Hadestown.
It's Hadestown.
That's the best. No, but
Yeah.
speaking of this incredible show, I think it is worth being pointed out and talked about. This is the only Broadway musical of this season to be directed by a woman.
Yes.
And it is only the second one in Broadway history to have a full all-woman creative team.
That's right.
That's bananas.
Yep.
But how does having a creative room like that, having a director like Rachel and your entire team, how does that enhance your performance? How does that enhance the room, the rehearsal room? Why does this need to be pointed out more, and why does it need to stop happening?
I know, right? I wish it was not something to be pointed out.
Yeah,
It was just normal.
Right, agreed.
And our lead producers as well are women.
Right.
I keep saying it is one of the healthiest rooms I've ever been in. And that is not necessarily because it is run by women, but it's not because of that. It's like hard to say.
Yeah.
I'll never know it any other way. But yeah, it's a true collaboration. And everyone is there with the same goal to make a piece of art. And there's no disrespect in that room, which is a beautiful thing.
Right.
Yeah.
We were talking with, I was speaking with Lily Cooper last week, and she was, I posed the question as, do you find these characters, and do you, because of their fierceness or because of their bad, and she was like, I don't know if they are that way on the page. I think I bring that fierceness.
Yeah.
Do you, is there a similar mindset with you when you're sort of going through? Like, you infuse them with that because that is you.
Yeah. Somebody asked me a similar question recently, and it occurred to me because they're also like, what kinds of roles do you want to play? And I was like, Medea, Martha from Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, like
Yes.
the witch and Into the Woods. And I was like, oh, maybe there's a pattern. I love playing like fearless, ballsy women in ways that, yes, I am like that sometimes in life, but not always. Like they are fearless in a way that on stage I get to practice a little bit every day.
Sure.
So maybe
Yeah.
I'll have some of that muscle memory in my spiritual self, you know?
Right, totally.
Yeah, I think I am attracted to colors that I don't always have
Totally.
personally.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, you brought up your first child earlier. You're the mother of 2 young children.
Yeah.
You recently invited our house photographer Emilio
Yes, I did.
backstage before and during a performance, and there's a portrait of you that had a big weekend, and you're doing your makeup
Yes.
in your dressing room mirror, and you're using your breast pump.
Yes, I am.
And it's an the feminist heart that my mother infused me with exploded when I saw this
I love it.
image. But it is so. Why was that not necessarily important? But why were you cool with that moment, being in there, being captured, and being out there?
I mean, it's a little bit like the conversation of this is the second all-female creative team and, only female director of a new musical this season. It's like, I look forward to the day where that is not an exciting image.
Yes.
It's just normalcy, and especially in my world, those are my udders. I provide food to 2 creatures, to 2 parasites. That's every few hours for me, and has been for the last 3 years. Like
Right.
didn't even faze me that he was walking by and was like, oh, I'll take a photo of this moment. I was like, yeah, of course
If you need a photo of me, you better get it.
that's what happens every day during intermission,
exactly.
religiously. So she re-ups her makeup and pumps for 5 minutes in a really magical
I bet. Yeah, absolutely. And before we open up to some questions of the people that are watching, who are you? You have such a distinct and amazing singing voice. Who were influences of yours? Did you try to sound like artists when you were, or how was your approach?
No, growing up, I never learned to properly read sheet music, which I'm grateful for sometimes because I don't get scared of notes on pages being too high or too low or whatever. Not to say I can sing anything, but I just, you just got to physically figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
And growing up, I always sang along to Tori Amos and Bjork.
Yes.
Now you know what kind of kid I was. Whatever.
Yeah.
And those women make insane sounds.
They do.
And so I was always like, how are they doing that? And I would try to just sing along. And I kind of figured out some singing things growing up because of them. And then as I went to conservatories, had amazing teachers that taught me how to use my body like an instrument and where to place things. And I just love singing. And now that I do sing however I like because I get to do new musicals. I don't have to sound like a certain thing, you know.
Yeah.
Lots of people have told me who I remind them of, which is cool. And there are lots of repeats in there. Eartha Kitt. You know, my goal is never to like sound like anyone else or anything.
Just do your thing. I love it. Absolutely. Caitlin, what would our viewers like to know from Amber?
We got so many questions.
Oh my God. Okay.
So Christine would like to know if you could sing a song that another character sings in the show, what would it be?
I want to sing Flowers so bad. I actually practice it sometimes when I'm like walking home at night. It's really hard to sing. Which is an absurd thing to say, like to share. But it is really hard to sing. It's so sweet and gentle, like a lullaby. It's actually like crazy hard. And so I practice it sometimes. So maybe one day if I do a little late night cabaret, bust out some flowers.
Please do that. We are waiting with bated breath for this cast album, of course.
Yes.
Like what was it about the music that really just sold it for you, that made you think, I have to do this, I have to sing this?
Oh man, I mean, that concept album is just gorgeous. It's haunting is a word that comes to mind. And where Aeneas writes music is just like in the pocket of my voice, and a lot of females' voices. But I was like, oh yeah, I want to sing those songs.
Dig into this.
Yeah, I can dig into this. Exactly. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So another question is, Kate wants to know, what was it like to team back up with Rachel Chavkin and be able to be together?
Sounds like it was awful.
Team back up. I'm like, I never leave her.
Never left.
I mean, I met her in 2010, and I really have. She's always in my life ever since then. I'm always like workshopping something with her. We're working on another project right now for a team show, which is her company that I've been a member of for the last couple of years. And it's wildly different than the musical theater world, but team shows. And Andre DeShields is in that one as well. Super fun to be in a room where we're like
the only thing I'm
improvising. We're improvising and writing on our feet and having writing assignments. It's so fun. But yeah, Rachel's kind of always in my space, and I hope to keep it that way.
Is she somebody you go to, even like advice outside of like whatever you're working with her on at that moment? Like, is she just that personal of a friend now?
Yeah, she's my girl. She's my pillow. Like, she knows some deep, dark secrets. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I love that. Yeah. It's beautiful. Oh, so Max wants to know, where do you find your inspiration to play a literal goddess?
Oh, naturally.
Yes.
I can't think about that. I can't think about the fact that she's a goddess. And they're so especially sweet kids, like teenagers, say things like that quite a bit. And I'm like, oh, nope, she's just a human at the end of the day. Right. She's just a mom at the end of the day that's like tired, burnt out sometimes. It's very sweet, but I'm like, oh, honey, I'm just a person.
No, like even in that, when the show opens and it's just you and Hades up on that balcony, you can tell immediately that these two have been married a long ass time. Like just with your fan and there's such a depth already just by you two observing all of that. That had to have been fun to just sort of fill in all of that.
I love it. It's one of my favorite things. And Chavkin does that a lot, where she'll keep all the actors on stage, and then you get to fill out these moments where you're just listening and observing, and I love it. I find those moments way more rich, actually, than the moments where I'm producing any energy or talking or singing.
Swinging.
Yeah, exactly. Swinging some water back from my flask. I love how many people ask me what's in the flask too. I'm like, water. Preferably warm water, because cold water's not good for the kid.
Preserve, yeah.
But I love those moments. And the dominoes thing came up naturally, because I grew up playing dominoes or rummy cube at the dinner table, and I had to teach Patrick how to play dominoes, and he didn't exactly grasp all of the rules, and he still does not know how to play to this day. And it's part of the fun, right? Because I get to start the show being like, you think you're winning, but you're not. So it's a really fun little, it's kind of perfect.
I love that. So this will be our last question. So Mark wants to know, basically, what has it been like to see the audience reaction that Hadestown has been getting, and to get, like, what was it like? You're a Tony nominee now, forevermore.
Yeah.
Well, what's this been like to see the audience reaction and be able to have that moment?
It's, again, it's so special, especially coming from the UK, because Brits have a very different energy than Americans, and we had to really earn it with the Brits, because they wear sleeves around their hearts. They're so funny because they are guarded sometimes with their emotions,
right.
and just to see Americans, and culturally what we are going through right now is so, unfortunately, similar to the show. And you can just feel them lean forward. It's beautiful. And I also love those moments where you kind of like hear the whole room go silent. It's very special. It gives me chills, makes the hairs on my arms stand up.
Yeah.
I never get tired of it.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
No, it is a remarkable show. You need to go see Hadestown at the Walter Kerr Theater. Check out this Tony-nominated performance alongside others in that fantastic show. 14 Tony nominations. Amber, thank you so much for coming by.
Yeah,
It's
my
such
pleasure.
a pleasure talking with you. Come back and see us anytime you like.
Sure.
The chair's yours.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Caitlin, why don't you take us out?
Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. We are live at 5 every single weekday here on Facebook. You can listen to us wherever you get your podcasts by searching for #Live at 5 and hitting that subscribe button. Be sure to tune in tomorrow when we talk to Tony nominees Matthew Sklar and Chad Bagelin all about The Prom.